Sorry for cussing. I don't know, man. I don't know why. I love doing that. But anyways, I am Logan Chestnut with Small Batch Barbecue. Joining me tonight is my barbecue brother, Mr. Houston Lyle, and Small Batch Barbecue. So what a coinky.
What's up, baby? I thought you were having a mini stroke there for a second.
Man, that threw me off, man. My intro was totally offbeat there, but it works.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It works.
It's good stuff.
It is great stuff, man. Great stuff, man. Good times.
Small batch checking in, fresh off of our latest ass kicking at Murfreesboro.
Dude, did you ever pay attention to that sketch guy? I've started to like low key follow him now.
Which one?
Thought the what's up, brother? You know, he's everywhere now. Like it's all over like TikTok and YouTube. Hell, ESPN, all the athletes are doing it now. Dude, he is global. And he's like this like nerdy dude that plays on video games, and I thought he is like was special or whatever, but I mean he's normal dude, just plays his part and
regular old bro.
Dude, but he's so awkward. I'm watching him like on these videos, like these hot girls. Now he's famous, like all these hot girls are clout chasing, and they're over here talking to him, and he's like. He reminds me of what's the name off Third Rock from the Sun. Remember that TV show?
Oh yeah.
Remember he's like,
God, there's the throwback.
Oh, that
the
was
one that wasn't John Lithgow.
Dude, that was a great one. No, he reminds me of that. I don't know. I love watching that. No, man. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the nitty gritty, dude. We suck. We suck.
I feel like that was a solid cook for us. I just feel like I kind of. Well, yeah. I mean, it had its adversities. I mean, that was the first comp on a new equipment. But
I don't know, dude. We gotta stop. I mean, this is it. This is my baby. I'm going to learn this girl inside and out. But
I feel like though, even with the grease fire and with not having any meaningful experience in a comp environment on that equipment. I do feel like we still turned in a solid cook. I feel like more than anything, I just feel like I don't have an idea for what judges are looking for at this point.
I don't know, man. Chicken, I think we got, we're there. We're knocking on top 8, top 5 every time.
I was going to say we're at least in the top 10 at the tournaments we're going to. But
yeah, but it's like, I don't know, man. Ribs is going to be our... Ribs is going to be French Stewart. Ribs is going to be our kryptonite, man. We're going to figure that shit out, Houston. Hell or high water, we will had those things down.
I mean, we're just going to have to steal AJ at some point.
I know, man. We'll just knock him out, throw him in a trailer like cook ribs.
You cook for us now.
You cook for us now. like that lady at the Chinese buffet. No, you eat the whole buffet.
No, you cook us now.
You cook us now.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay now.
No, I mean,
what's up, Toby? Look, here's AJ.
There's AJ.
Totally. AJ is trimming meat right now. He has stepped his game up. Got some ribs from Corday Meats. So he says, forget looking for fresh meat now. He's getting frozen meat like the rest of us. Way to go, AJ.
Way to go, AJ. Also, we've press gagged you into our team's next rib entry.
100%. What's up, Toby? No, man, it's we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. And that anything but I swear to God, next year we're doing grilled cheese. Or I'm gonna turn in like a PB&J.
Oh, I just saw Alan commented on that actor's name from Third Rock.
Oh, French Stewart, yes.
French Stewart
Alan,
is.
Thank you, man.
It's the dude we were searching for.
That was such a good show. It was a good show.
It really was.
There's so many good like sitcoms back in the day. I don't know where they all went. Now it's all reality shit. I guess they figured out it's cheaper to do those.
Now all the sitcoms have gone to the streaming platforms.
That's true. Anywho, man, this is barbecue. So
this is barbecue, and this is Champions Month. Still,
Champions Month, World Champions Month, man. As
World Champions
top wiener slingers of the
creme of the
creme, the creme of the creme. The peas and carrots of barbecue. And so this month, this week, I am out of it, dude. So bad. I'm so happy we do this live. No, man. This week we have a friend of mine that actually when I first started doing the pro stuff, man, he was one of the nicer big wigs that show me the time of day. Great guy from the show me state of Missouri. It's Mr. Chris Schafer of Heavy Smoke. Heavy. Let's bring Chris onto the stage. I got work on
him out. Let's get
so
into
bad.
it.
What's up, boys?
What's going on, Big Sexy?
What's up,
you.
Chris?
There you go.
Yeah, maybe the big picture.
Yeah, man. Like a blurry Cinemax porno. Fuzzy Chris. Here we go.
The big tile for the big name.
Big title. Nah, man. Chris, thank you for coming on the show, buddy. I really appreciate you taking time out. I know this is probably one of your few days that you're not prepping for the comps.
No, man, I'm always prepping. Actually, I don't prep like I used to, man. I feel like when I first started, it was like every day of the week. And now I can throw it together on a Thursday if I have to.
That's nice.
I mean, it's got to be muscle memory at this point.
It really is. I mean, whether it's double, single, whether it's 2 hours from the house, 10 hours from the house, it's like all the same thing.
How many did you do last year?
Last year I took it easy though. I think I only cooked 20, 21, 22, something like that. Since I had won the Jack, I was already in the Jack and the Royal, and I thought if there's ever a time to like go easy, that was one when you already had the big ones in the bag,
Pull back, take a breather or two.
Yep.
I mean, that's awesome though. You don't have to chase. You can literally just lay back and just pick and choose what you want to do. Have some fun with it, and
yeah,
you're like, I'm in the Jack. That's what all pro guys want to get into anyways. Just like you're just chasing the Jack. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. We won the Jack, so you get to go back, and we were already in the Royal, and I was just like, man, let's just find 20 comps that are the fun ones that we want to cook, and not really worry about team of the year, none of that bullshit. Just go have some fun and cook some comps and try to stay sharp for the majors.
Right.
Nice.
Well, no, man. So how was it, man? How was it cooking like a normal person?
It's kind of one of those things. It's like my family's got such a routine of me being gone that I'd be like home on a weekend, and my wife and daughter would be like, all right, we'll be over the neighbors. And I'll be like hanging out by myself at home. And I'm like, damn, why am I not just at a comp right now? This is stupid.
they're like, who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Exactly. Yeah. It's cool, man. But yeah, I mean, you guys are probably the same as me. It's like you get the itch. You're not cooking, so it's rest. You're resting, but you're watching your buddies at comp. And you're watching the awards. And you're like, fuck, I probably could have won that one. And so you still want to be out there. I
mean, yeah, for the most part, it's like that for us. It's more like I see the buddies out there, but I'm not saying I could have won that one like you are, but I'm like, I could have at least got, top 10 maybe.
Right. I always more so worry about losing the edge. Like, man, the next one we do, I'm not going to remember anything.
Well, I tell new cooks and people take my class and stuff, like, if you know you can only cook 10, try to jam them into 3 months. Try to get as many back to back as you can. By your third, fourth one, that's like the muscle memory takes over, and you should be a lot better. If you cook one a month across 10 months, you're like always chasing your tail.
Right. No, I remember I taught you that first year whenever I was cooking some pro comps, and you said that, you said if you really want to hone in, cook 3 in a row. And and it was funny you said that because literally the next 3 weeks I had one comp, or next 2 weeks I had a single comp, and then a double comp, and I was like, after that double, I was like, you know what? Yeah, definitely get you more of a rhythm, barbecue rhythm.
Yeah, it's like you always make mistakes, right? Like we make mistakes all the time, and it's the people that do well are the ones that handle chaos and handle the mistakes the best. And when you've done this, however many times in a row, it's easier to overcome that stuff.
Right. No, man. Well, I mean, Lord, it's like as much as you and some of the other guests we've had on our show do it. I mean, at this point, you just kind of cash it in, and it's the same. I mean, basically, you're trying to produce the same quality of meat every week, and I'm sure repetition definitely helps that. Get your program down.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's like the guys that cook 40 a year, like we're rarely going to miss tenderness. Like just really that's not a thing. And then it comes down to what did Jordan say?
He said big hitter.
Big game hunter. He's talking about my dad, probably. But we're rarely going to miss tenderness. So now it just comes down to, do they like our flavors on that day? And a lot of people don't realize that like the judges are allowed to not like your food. So if you don't miss tenderness and you hit your marks, you should do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, tenderness is that's the great white buffalo. I feel like me and Houston are chasing when it comes to our ribs. It's so I've talked to a lot of people about it, and I'm trying to work our way in. We got a new pit on the trailer that I'm trying to learn the what it likes and where it's good. But
What pitch you get?
so yeah, I got the I'm a Lone Star fan, so Lone Star Grills. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
They have a cabinet pellet smoker that's phenomenal. And I put that bad boy on the back of my trailer. It is it has more capacity than a CTO. But it's a solid one that I also cook on a gateway.
It's a little finicky this weekend, but
it is. We're learning it though.
Well, just trade that thing in on 3 gateways. You should be good.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nah, man. So let's I'm gonna start this thing off like every other podcast you've been on. Let's bring up the origin story, man. What's the origin of Heavy Smoke, and what was Chris Schafer before he was Heavy Smoke?
Man, you want the long version? How long is this show?
However long you want it to be.
You talking to me.
All right, so I'll run through fast. I cooked at a restaurant all through high school and college, so I had that kind of that base, I always joke I'm a better chef than I am a pit master. But when I was working retail, I was running a retail store, and I had a guy work for me. And he's like, "You ever done barbecue competitions or seen barbecue competitions?" I'm like, "Man, I seen pit masters, And he's like, "Well, you ought to come out to this one. I got one in a couple months." And so I go out there, and we're just hanging out, and I think we drank like a handle of Sailor Jerry, which is never a good choice. So we wake up the next day, and he's like, "All right, you're cooking chicken." I was like, I'm doing what? He's like, "You're cooking chicken." He's like, "I will walk you through it." I'm like, "Okay." So I fumbled my way through it. I think I got like 38th out of 42 teams, and I was just stoked that I wasn't dead last. But the actual atmosphere of the competition was so damn cool that like I was hooked,
Right.
So I took over chicken on that team. That was 2012. I took over chicken on that team, and we cooked maybe 5-6 comps that year. No calls. I got 11th once, and I thought I won the fucking Royal. And then in 2013, we cooked maybe 6 comps. I still no calls, man. I mean, I get 11s and 13s and things like that. And then the next year, I just basically like, I'm done with this. Like, there's no more of this losing bullshit, And I was still just cooking chicken on that team. And I would have to guess, but I probably cooked 500-600 chicken thighs that winter. And to the point that my wife was like, "Will you please stop cooking chicken?" Like she was over it. And so in between that year, we were cooking KCBS the first 2 years. And then that year we found the St. Louis Barbecue Society. And we go to our first comp, and I get first place chicken. And I'll never forget it because the guy's team I was on, his name was Cole, and it was Cole Sweet Heat. And they're like, "First place chicken, Cole Sweet Heat." And a guy behind me goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And I turned around and I said, "Me." And I walked up and got it. And then the next comp we cooked, I got first in chicken. And then the next comp we cooked, I got 5th in chicken. And I'm still just the chicken guy, right? And we go cook a KCBS event, Sam's Club in Lexington, Kentucky, and I get 2nd in chicken. And I was like, "Man, I guess I got this shit figured out, And there's a couple comps that I cooked ribs. Our rib guy didn't show up. I cooked ribs a couple times, but mostly just chicken. So the following year, we had a scheduling conflict. The guy that ran the team, he couldn't cook on a Sunday. I was in retail, so Sunday made sense for me. And I was like, "I'm going to cook this comp without you if you don't mind." And he's like, "Oh, no problem." So I took his trailer. I took 2 of my smokers. I took 2 of his smokers. And I didn't plan on starting my own team. And people would ask Cole, they'd be like, "Oh, how do you make such great barbecue?" And he always said salt, pepper, and heavy smoke. And so as an ode to Cole, I signed up as salt, pepper, and heavy smoke. And before I sent the application, I was like, "Man, that's just too long." So I literally drew a line through salt and pepper and sent the thing. And I got 4 top 5s in RGC.com, my first ever comp. And so I was cooking St. Louis Barbecue Society that year, and they take your top 6. And I only got 6 comps in, but finished 7th for the St. Louis Barbecue Society Team of the Year. And I was like, "Man, I guess I can do this thing, So I cooked all SLBS for the next couple of years. In 2018, I cooked, I think it was like 6 KCBS events, and I RGC'd one of them to get to go to the KCBS Invitational. And then in that winter, I mean, my dad and I, we just practiced like maniacs. He showed up at my house every Sunday at like 5 a.m. to cook. We were doing 4 meat cooks. And I remember we practiced 13 straight weekends through the winter. And we cooked 13 straight weekends. On the 14th weekend, we went down to Little Rock, Arkansas for the KCBS Invitational and won it. And so a lot of people don't realize my first KCBS GC was the KCBS Invitational World Championship. And I think by this point I had like 7 or 8 GCs for the St. Louis Barbecue Society, but my first KCBS one was that one. And then that year, 2019, we cooked, I think it was 11 or 12 SLBS, and we cooked, I think it was 18 KCBS that year. I ended up with 12 grands and 5 RGCs that year. So we finished, I think it was like 17th for KCBS Team of the Year. And we won the St. Louis Team of the Year. We won chicken, pork, and brisket, and overall Team of the Year for SLBS. And then we went all full KCBS in 2020, and kind of writes itself from there.
I guess that's where I met you. Is when you? I think 2020 is when I met you.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize I've only been in the KCBS for a few years.
Yeah.
In 2012 and 13, we were KCBS on my other team, but we found the St. Louis Barbecue Society. It's one of those things, man. You could cook 15 comps a year and not get more than an hour and a half from the house. Like,
that's nice.
It was hard to not do St. Louis Barbecue Society, but once we've seen a lot of success there, it just made sense to go KCBS.
You're making me feel bad about myself. Like when we talked to Bill Purvis, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm cooking." Me and him started cooking competition cooks at the same time. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're definitely on the same level." I'm like Christian. I'll be like the Christian Leitner on the Dream Team. Is like, "Yeah, I'm just here. I'm not in the same level."
Hey man, you inbounded that pass that counted.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does hate Christian Leitner, so
everybody.
Thank you. Yes. I'm from Kentucky, and it's like Satan, Christian Leitner, and Louisville.
Osama bin Laden, Christian Leitner.
Yeah. It was funny though. We won the KCBS Invitational, and if you went to barbecue data, it looked like we'd only cooked 7 comps. And so
who the hell is this ringer?
Well, so I got 2 great stories about that. Tim Shear said that Matt Walker on the way home called him and was like, "Who the hell is Heavy Smoke?" and Tim, being from St. Louis, he's like, "No," he's like, "That guy." He's like, "He's taken my class twice." I took Brad and Tim's class in 15 and again in 18, and he's like, the guy's probably cooked 80 comps at this point, and they're like, "Oh, okay." And then that same year, I'm in Osage City, Kansas, and I come out of the porta potty, and I barely get out of it. The guy was like, "How in the hell do you cook 7 comps and win the KCBS Invitational?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I pulled you barbecue data." I'm pretty sure it was Greg. I'm pretty sure it was Greg Hasty, and that's why I'm doing that voice. I pulled you barbecue data.
You should have been like, I don't know. I saw Pitmasters and it looked fun.
Yeah, I slept at a Holiday Inn last night.
Yeah, I gave it a go, man. They left the light on. No, that's right.
I don't know. How long have you been doing this?
Well, the thing is like there are a lot of other sanctioning bodies out there that are very competitive, but they don't track them all, and like you look what a guy like a Phil Breeden did or has done in Texas.
Oh yeah,
the guy's a maniac, but he really only ran KCBS 1 year. So you pull his barbecue data, you're like, "Oh, the guy's pretty good. He's won a couple comps." But if you know his history, you know what he's done.
He's won 80 comps in Texas.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Same with Purvis. When he got 7 last year for the Jack, he did it in 5 different sanctioning bodies. It's like,
yeah,
it's hard to track.
That's true. It's true.
I don't know a lot though about the St. Louis body. Do you have anything you prefer about it over the KCBS?
No, it's almost identical. Like their rules are identical. Turn-in times, 5-minute window, like all the rules are identical. Their scoring's a little different. Like a perfect comp is a 900. And so each category is a 225. Is that right? Perfect score.
You're making them do math, Houston. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
that's literally the only difference. I mean, for me, it was a matter of convenience. They were super close. And they were good comps. Like some of the best comps I ever cooked were St. Louis comps. The organizers are great. I got involved. I was on the board of directors for St. Louis Barbecue Society for a few years before switching over to KCBS. Like I said, I have nothing bad about them. It's just that they're a small platform, and right. They're at a point now where they're only maybe 7-8 comps a year. They've really kind of come down from where they were when I started, but it was a great springboard into getting into the KCBS for sure.
So that was kind of like we're in backyard right now. It's kind of like your backyard entry into competition barbecue to spring you into.
Yeah. But the thing that people don't realize though, is that like SLBS was full of good cooks,
Yeah.
Billy Hine with Triple H. He's won the Royal. He's a world champion, but he started in St. Louis Barbecue Society. And name you guys probably don't remember, like Jeff Ripplemeyer, Ripple Q. He started in SLBS and some KCBS, but he's 180 ribs at the Royal. So there's quite a few good teams that have come out of the St. Louis Barbecue Society for sure.
Yeah, is Meet Me in St. Louis State still cooking at SLBS, or
he goes back and forth, like whatever's convenient for him.
I got you.
If he wanted to commit, and run SLBS, I think he could potentially be the team of the year every year, but he'll just go cook one and win it and then skip 3 of them type thing.
Nah, man, they're solid guys. Oh,
no, I'm always curious about that though. Like when we had Fred Robles on, I was fascinated with the body that he does most of his cooking in.
Yeah,
because it's so different than the KCBS, and there are a lot of things about it I think make sense, and I'd like to see KCBS move more in that direction.
Yeah, I truthfully, and like I might make some enemies saying this, but I think the KCBS does it right. I think they're as close to having it right as possible. They have their flaws and they make mistakes, but I think they're as close to having it as right as they can. I've cooked the CBA and I really enjoy those competitions. Non-certified judges kind of scares me, but it seems if you watch those comps, the cream still rises to the top. So,
right.
I mean, so it's hard to make that argument too.
No, definitely not throwing any shade on the KCBS. Yeah. It's one of those things since we started doing this podcast, it's kind of broadened my worldview of this sport. And
yeah.
I really had never ventured outside of the KCBS because it's the bulk of the tournaments we have in our area.
Yeah. And like the FBA, like down in Florida, that's pretty competitive. And you've got some of the teams that they crush KCBS, but they mainly live in the FBA, and
sure.
I remember 2019, they did the Smoking with Smithfield thing where they took your top 12 comps, no matter what sanctioning body, and they took the top 24 teams in the world for a tournament. And I remember, I think it's pig, chicken, cow, maybe. But they were almost all FBA, but they came into that thing with like 9 GCs on the year. They've won like 2 KCBS and like 7 FBA, and you're like, man, these guys are obviously damn good cooks.
Yeah, for sure. And I imagine Florida is probably the same way as Texas, where you could probably just do a full season off of just the FBA body tournaments. If
you're in Texas trying to run KCBS, like it's impossible almost. They have 3 or 4 KCBS events, and most of them are in the north. And
right,
like where Fred's at, man. Like I'll never forget, I was in Dallas for World Foods, and I was like, "Oh, it must be nice to have a comp in Texas." And Fred goes, "It took me 11 hours to get here." And I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's just in Texas though. Everything's like proportional. It's like it's just in the next field. Well, that field's 10,000 acres.
Yeah,
right.
So,
it's huge.
Hope you have a good horse or a nice ATV. Because you ain't getting over there.
Yeah, that's massive.
Right, you're just measuring distances and how many like Buc-ee's you pass in between.
that's my landmark
on your trip.
Now, hey, speaking of which, man, what? I mean, I know, but let our viewers know, like, what are you smoking on? Have you always been loyal to one? Have you cooked on the rainbow like the rest of us?
No, I mean, I've always been a drum cook.
Maybe.
And so it's easier to say drum cook. Well, I guess let me back up. When I very first started, my buddy Cole that got me started, he had a Myron Mixon and water smoker, but I was the chicken guy. I was using a Weber Smoky Mountain back then. For the longest time, I made homemade drums. I had homemade drums and a Weber Smoky Mountain for chicken.
Yeah, that's right.
I did. And man, they worked. I didn't have to really go to anything else. In 2015, I built all new drums with my brother, and then at the end of 2015 my brother passed away, and I was honestly just pretty hell-bent on using my brother's drums, right? Mm-hmm. And I always said like I would use them until I felt like they weren't working. And so in 2022 I got a new trailer, and man, like I was in the lead for team of the year when I got that trailer, and after like 2 months I was in like 8th place. Like I couldn't sniff a win, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Like it couldn't have been the trailer necessarily, and the only thing I'd pinpoint is that the drums really weren't running right on the trailer, And so I'd talked to Tim multiple times about switching to gateways. And kind of funny, actually, I texted him the the week of the Royal, week before the Royal. I was like, Tim, I need 4 gateways, man. I was like, I'm making the switch. And his response was, yeah, it's time, which I thought was funny. And so on the way to Murfreesboro, I offloaded my drums. On the way to Murfreesboro, I drove by Tim's shop and picked up 4 brand new gateways. And I got there and I unboxed them on my trailer. The team behind me was like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's a brand new smokers. He never cooked before, you know? And so I cooked Murfreesboro and then the Royal on those gateways that I won the Jack. So the third comp that I ever cooked all gateways was the freaking Jack.
That's wild.
I know, man. Like me and Houston, we went to like a little regional stuff and we thought we were hot shit. You know, his first GC is the world. He's a world champion on his first GC.
You know, I mean, it's a fantastic story. I mean, it's just.
I'll tell you this much though, man. Like we practiced like maniacs that winter, and right. I promise you, because it was early February, the KSBS Invitational. I promise you, I was the only guy on the lot that had cooked the last 13 weekends before I got there.
I believe that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I mean, no one's saying you hadn't put in.
No, yeah. I'm just saying that I guarantee I was practiced. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No,
man, it's not like you fell off the back of a log and did it.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of good stories, man, I heard you had a hell of a one last weekend, didn't you?
Man, so this is awful, man. This is the worst decision I ever made, and I've never regretted anything more in my life. So
he's not talking about the show.
Well, that's a close second.
All right, I still got you boys in my ears. I got to reload.
You're good, buddy. We're listening.
So Wednesday at 10 p.m., Brad texts me and says, hey, I'm signed up for a double in Virginia. I was going to fly in. He goes, everything's set up. People are bringing stuff. He goes, I already got a hotel that I can't get a refund for. He goes, all you got to do is get a plane ticket and some meat and just go take my place. And I go, it's 10 p.m. on Wednesday of the comp. And he's like, well, see if you can figure it out. And I'm like, let me think about it. So Thursday, I get to work 4:30 in the morning. I start looking at flights, and I can get out there reasonably priced. I had a travel credit, and so I was like, I can get out there pretty cheap. So I pulled meat out on Thursday. I pulled meat out for a double and thaw it out. And I had to work, mind you. So I was at work. So I pulled meat out. I ordered chicken. And I get everything trimmed up. Chicken shows up. They brought me 4 thighs total.
Nice.
And so I was like, screw it. I'll get some legs when I get out there. You know what I mean? I'll figure it out. So I wake up Friday, 2 a.m. My dad picks me up, takes me to the airport. I fly to Virginia. I land at like 11 a.m. It's an hour drive to the comp. I get down there. I go to Walmart to find some legs. I buy the supplies I need, whatever. And I go set up for this competition, start getting everything set up, ejected, drums going, whatever. I don't get back to the hotel till like 9 p.m. on Friday. I'm still going to make boxes. So I make boxes until like 10 p.m. or I guess it's almost like 11, like 10 to 11. And then I decide I'm going to bed. And the neighbors in the hotel are like literally screaming at each other the whole time. It's so loud. I finally ended up calling the front desk to send security over there to quiet them down. So mind you, I woke up at 2 a.m. I worked all day to get ready, flew in. I get to bed at 12:30. My alarm goes off at 3:30, so I got 3 hours of sleep.
Ouch.
To go out and cook this comp. So I go out, cook a full comp, and like it's a double, and I've flown in, so like nothing's ready. So I turn meat in and immediately start trimming chicken for the next day so I can brine it and inject it, whatever. I go to awards and I get manhandled. I got a 7th place rib, no other calls. I don't even know what I finished overall. 15, 16, 17. I don't know. But they just didn't like my food. I got like 8 comment cards that were basically like, we hate you and you suck. You should give this up. You know, obviously this was your first comp. I mean, it was bad, but I couldn't really make
our comment cards.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly really couldn't even make adjustments because I flew in. So, and also Brad shipped a box of supplies out there. So like we use most of the same stuff, right? So, I mean, I just get out there and I just, open this box. What you got? All right, cool. We're cooking food. And then I set up the next day, cook that comp, get beat up again. And it's like, they just didn't like my food, man. Like I said earlier, like they're allowed to not like your food. They didn't like what I was serving. I got comment cards that my brisket was too sweet. I got comment cards my ribs were too sweet. And it's like, man, they just didn't like my flavors there. And like, that's okay, you know? So then I get everything cleaned up, head to the airport. my flight gets delayed. And so I miss my connection in North Carolina or in Charlotte. I miss my connection. The airline puts me in a hotel overnight. So my flights leave the next day. And then I spent almost all day Monday traveling to try to get back home as well. So it was one of the worst weekends of my life, man. I'm not going to lie.
Man.
Did you
sounds like you've caught a real hanger.
And so did you cook heavy smoke or did you cook under Leininger stuff?
No, we switched it to heavy smoke. I wish I would have left it under Leininger after I got the scores.
You should have, yeah.
Nothing like putting a double together in like 12 hours, flying out, cooking back-to-back 670s, getting stranded at an airport. I mean, it was a rough weekend, man. I should have been there.
Did Leininger not give you the locker combination to his cans that he had probably in town?
No, Luke Darnell brought a couple drums, and another guy brought a couple drums, and the organizer Dave Dick he gave me a Cambro and a tent and table and stuff. So those guys set me up.
Hey, good to have friends. You boondocked him, man. That's
if I would have won one of the days, it would have been an incredible story.
Right.
But the fact that I get back to back like 670s, it's like, yeah, this story sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the hotel domestic squabble less enjoyable.
Dude, I swear, man, I've never heard people yell things like at their kids like they were so aggressive to the point that I called the front desk and was like, "Can you send security over there? Like, I might be saving somebody's life tonight."
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I've had some of those nights with my kids. Were
you in Virginia this weekend?
No, I was getting my butt kicked somewhere else, but yeah,
getting our teeth kicked in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, no.
Was that a backyard countdown there, or what was that?
It was a competitor series. It's a one we always want to support. So it was kind of a warm up, using it as a practice for next week. So we got 4 in 3 weeks. So we're just trying to break in a new smoker and check it out.
I heard you mention Chef's Choice, and you're gonna love this story because of what you said. My buddy, this is like 6-7 years ago, at Chef's Choice, and he made a from scratch shrimp etouffee. He worked on it forever, and it was incredible. And he gets second place. And so he gets up there, gets the stuff. They're like, "What'd you make?" Shrimp etouffee. Well, the guy that wins gets up there, and they go, "What'd you make?" And he says, "Grilled cheese." And my buddy was furious.
See,
so the fact that you said you're going to turn in grilled cheese is hilarious because he actually lost the grilled cheese.
Dude, I told you next year because we only do 2 non-sanctioned, and I'm turning like a PB&J or a grilled cheese because I'm tired of this year I went all out. I got beef ribs and trying to make a homemade chimichurri and all this crap.
Dude, I made 12 dozen twice baked potatoes. I was still up at midnight on Friday night putting together these twice baked potatoes.
So did they say what won?
Was it
no, I saw a hot dog got third.
Yeah, I was about to say the gourmet hot dog. I would eat the shit out of that hot dog.
No, I don't know. I'm sure it was delicious, and I know the guy did it. And it looked fancy.
Shut up! You're not sure. You know that hot dog was delicious.
Oh, you know us, but no, these Chef's Choice, man. Some of these Chef's Choices are just like gourmet meals. It's like we turned our platter in, look good, and I look at theirs, like damn. Then whenever the year you won the Jack, I was down there. I taught you for a little bit, but I remember during the dessert thing, I kind of saw everybody. What they were walking across. I was like, what the hell? It's like something you order Ruth Chris or something. I was like, what is going on here?
Yep. I actually have a first place hot dog trophy. I swear.
Do you really?
Of course.
I think I'm more jealous of that than anything.
Dude, it's my favorite trophy. So there was a comp, a St. Louis Barbecue Society, and it was at Ballpark Village outside of Busch Stadium.
I love Ballpark.
So every year they did an ancillary that was ballpark themed. One year was nacho, but one year was hot dog. And so I was like, all right. I was like, let me find a way to hide the hot dog, which I've been trying to do my whole life unsuccessfully. So
we could go a lot of directions with that.
I took a poblano pepper and I split it open and I made this cheese spread. And so I smoked the hot dog and then I made this cheese spread in there, put the hot dog in it, completely filled it with this cheese spread, and then wrapped the whole thing in bacon and smoked it. And I served it like a big man popper is what I called it. And so it was like a giant popper with a hot dog inside of it.
So it's almost like a bacon wrapped hot dog, like relleno.
Yeah, he made a redneck chili relleno. Right?
Yeah. The funny thing was just like you said, people take out like crazy platters and shit. I got this $1 like plastic tray to put it on that I found at Target or whatever, and I brought paper plates to serve it on, and the plates didn't fit, so I took scissors and just cut the edges of them off. So the plates were literally like straight on two sides and rounded on the other two sides. So they fit on the platter, and they call us first place hot dog. And my brother-in-law and I just belly laughed all the way to the stage and took our money and our trophy.
Dude,
thank you.
no. Speaking of non-barbecue things, like a story I know that you've told me that I cracked up. Tell the pizza story.
Yeah. So when I cooked St. Louis barbecue side, they had a lot of ancillaries and stuff, and we didn't take it as serious, and so I do a lot of that. And like I said, I'm a better chef than a pit master, so we would always play that game. But we get to this contest, and the ancillaries pizza, and we weren't going to do it. The organizer came around. He's like, "Hey, we need more people to do pizzas." He's like, basically, it doesn't even matter what you make. He's like, he's like, the more pizza entries I have, the more money we raise. It was almost like I don't even know how it worked. Like it was like people donated money towards this, but they had to have more entries is all it was. And so he's just
walking around with the hat turned out.
Kind of, yeah. So I still wasn't going to do it, but a buddy of mine was like, fine, we'll do pizza. So I just went to the store with him, right? We're walking out of the store and we're with the freezer section. I go, my brother-in-law, Jimmy, I was like, Jim. He's like, what? And I point to the freezer and there's bagel bites. And he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, let's turn in bagel bites. He said it needs more entries. He's like, it's not going to win. I go, I hope it gets last. It's going to be freaking hilarious. So we literally just microwaved some bagel bites. They gave us a full-size pizza box, and I put 9 bagel bites in there. And he talked me out of, I was going to take one and cut it into 6 pieces, and he talked me out of it. So we put 9 of them in there. Well, when he walked out,
ate most of them, right?
Yeah. When he walked out of the trailer, he turned the box sideways, and we didn't put them on anything, so they all slid, and they slid to the front of the box. And we didn't know this, but the ambassador told us later that when they opened the box, there's just a pile of bagel bites in the front of the box. And one of the judges, like they were trying not to laugh, but one of the judges just let out a little laugh, and then the whole table burst. They just burst into laughter. There. And they said other people are like shushing them and stuff. They're like, no, like judges are getting up from other tables and coming over and looking at this pile of bagel bites in this box, right? So the best part of the story is I got last, as I should have. Second to last was this guy from Chicago who made a from scratch deep dish pizza,
Chicago style pizza,
and he only beat me by 3 points. And to this day, he hates my guts.
Dude, Bob Tretneck's rolling over in his grave here in the story.
Yeah, man, this guy, I mean, he worked his tail off to make this, deep dish pizza on a smoker, and he beat me by 3 points. So,
no offense, Bob, but Chicago style pizza is not a pizza; it's a casserole.
No, Bob makes good pizza, but
I love deep dish like once a year, right? But like, if I'm ordering pizza a couple times a month, it's not going to be deep dish.
No, the only thing that would have been better is if you would have turned in Hot Pockets.
Well, what's funny is
diarrhea pockets.
So we got this reputation of the pizza thing, and then later that year was the one at Ballpark Village, and it was nachos, and I was going to turn in a nacho Lunchable, and
that'd have been awesome.
And they got wind of it ahead of time. The organizer begged me to not turn it a Lunchable, but I was going to.
Dude, that's awesome.
we used to have fun with ancillaries though, man. There was a chef's choice when this competition was a Saturday, Sunday, and so you could get there super early on Saturday because you didn't have to work or anything, right? So it's like you could really like focus on it. And so one year I did meatloaf cupcakes, and so
I thought about doing those.
So I took like a 2-inch block of cheddar and put it inside of meatloaf cupcake and actually smoked it in the pan like that, and then I smoked potatoes and I made smoked garlic mashed potatoes. And I piped them on the top like icing, and then I chopped up bacon like sprinkles. And so when these things went in, they looked like cupcakes, but they were meatloaf. So when you cut them open, it oozed cheese out. They were freaking awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I've seen those on like TikTok and stuff. Where like you said, they pipe the mashed potatoes on top, and I thought about doing that for the People's Choice. Nope, I'm doing grilled cheese, or I'm going to do roasted ghost chili peppers. and just turn those things in and said, "Good luck,
dude." Just give them a box of animal crackers and some Nutella. You'll probably win.
That'd be awesome. 3 jars of
Dunkaroos.
Yeah, Dunkaroos.
I'm like, you got to eat it. No, you got to eat the smashed peas.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to take that stuff serious and have fun doing it, man. But now it's, you're so worried about the big 4. It's like that's all you do.
Yeah,
I got one of the ancillaries I love doing though is tacos, and if there's a cocktail ancillary, I always want to do that one because that's always fun. That's like the. Are you doing the cocktail one at the Open this year or the KCBS Invitational?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't even drink anymore. So.
Well, I know you don't drink, but you still make a cocktail. They're always fun.
I got a great cocktail story though, if you want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a St. Louis Barbecue Society comp, and it was on Cinco de Mayo, and so they had a margarita contest. And my buddy was like, "Man, I make the best margaritas on earth." I'm like, "Well, dude, come make them. I don't drink, so like, come make a margarita." And we're on the way there, and he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got something come up. I can't make it." So I show up to the contest, and I tell the organizer, I'm like, "Hey, I can't make margaritas." And he's like, "No, you have to." He's like, he had sponsors judging it. He's like, "I got the exact amount of sponsors, exact amount of teams. Like, you have to turn in something." I was like, "I didn't even bring anything." He's like, "Figure it out." And so I gave my brother-in-law, because my brother-in-law used to cook with me before my dad did. I gave him $20, and I said, "Hey, go over to their beer tent and buy 4 margaritas." And he's like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Yes." Mm-hmm. So he went over to the contest bar tent, their tent, beer tent, and bought 4 margaritas and brought them over. Well, it's on-site judging, and I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I can talk. So these 3 women come over, and I go into this story. I tell her the truth. "Hey, my buddy was supposed to come make these. They weren't." And I go through the whole thing, and I sell the hell out of them. Like, "These margaritas came from that beer stand over there, or whatever." Well, the lady tries it, and she's like, "This is a really good margarita." And I was like, "Is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, here, try it." And I go, "I don't drink." And she's like, "Here, just try it." I'm like, "Okay." So I take a sip of her margarita. I'm like, "Damn, this is a good margarita." Well, the organizer tells me this afterwards. I don't get a call, and my buddy who was brand new, he wins. But he told me afterwards, and since it wasn't a sanctioned thing, I'm okay with him doing this. I won. So I won the margaritas, and he told the judges, he's like, "You're going to make 2 of those 9s into 6s right now. I'm not letting this asshole win the margarita contest with my beer tent margaritas." And so they changed 2 of my 9s to 6s. I ended up like 12th, but my buddy ended up winning margarita, and it was his first call ever, so I was super happy for him.
Cheaters. Bunch of cheaters.
Yeah.
Dude, shut up, man. You could have won that. It'd been perfect. You'd be like, "I see, buddy. I don't need you. I make my own margarita."
Yeah, it was great though. I mean, I literally just gave him $20 to go buy margaritas, and we did it. And it was on site in St. Louis. They had a number of those on site judging for the ancillaries, and like we would always crush those because we just talk our way through it.
I feel like I want to do that. I'd love to do one NBN, just do on site judging. I could bullshit my way into at least something.
I've had multiple teams ask if I would just come to the talking for their NBN stuff, and I'm like, "Man, if I'm not cooking, I don't want to be talking."
I don't know. I could be bribed into it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, I mean it sounds fun. I mean, just because it's different than what we're used to.
Yeah, that's the only downside part. I love barbecue, and I love everything about it, but that's the downside about the KCBS, where it's like it doesn't like embrace creativity.
Well, you also can't defend your dish, right? So
right.
Like imagine if you could stand in front of the table of judges and be like, "Oh, well, I don't even know. I gave you a sweet rib because of X," and then maybe they would appreciate the sweet rib more so. But I think for the big 4, it doesn't make sense. But you can definitely defend dishes with the other stuff.
I just like stand over them. How you like my meat? Is it good? Do you like that?
Logan just goes, "Do you see how big I am?"
His whole strategy is just glowering menacingly.
For the guys that don't know me, I'm 5'9", so it's,
yeah,
every inch of it,
plus or minus a foot. No, man.
You would be funny as 4'9".
Oh, that would be so great, because everybody asks me, I'm 6'9", so everybody comes up and asks me at least once a day, how tall are you? Did you play basketball? When I was, I lost a lot of weight. But when I was really fat, they're like, you played football, didn't you? You look like a football player. I'm like, no, I played college basketball. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I used to be skinny. Thanks for the
Thanks,
boost.
bro.
Thanks, bro. They're like, basketball? I'm like, you're fat and white. You have two whammies. I don't believe you. I'm like, well, they needed one. So that was me.
I played basketball for 1 year and I just boxed out, man. That's all I knew how to do. Was just
I see you're a mean boxer.
that's it, man. That's it. I think I scored negative points on the season.
that
I have
itself is
never
impressive.
played a competitive, organized game of basketball in my life.
It's
Not
okay,
one.
buddy.
I mean,
It's all good.
I haven't done it effectively. I mean, I'm probably in the same boat as you.
No, I mean, I have never been on the court in an organized game of basketball ever.
Oh, I saw that Make-A-Wish video, man, where they put you in for 1 minute to hit the shot.
It was, yeah, it was. It was like
Everybody saw that YouTube video. It got millions of hits.
me and all the special needs kids just out playing ball, just out hooping.
Hey, what's that Johnny Knoxville movie where he did that?
I was
Ringer.
just talking. I was just talking about this movie the other day, and yeah, Ringer. You're right. I couldn't
The
remember.
Ringer. That was an amazing movie. That's got to be
It
one
really
of the best
was.
ones ever.
I saw a clip from that movie that I forgot about, and they were showing that Johnny Knoxville. It took like 100 takes, and he wouldn't stop laughing for this one scene. And it's the scene where they were like, "What? Why were you out so late?" Like, "Oh, he did this when we got ice cream." And the one guy goes, "When the fuck did we get ice cream?"
Oh, that's the greatest
And-
part of the whole movie.
And if you pay attention, like the scene that made the movie, Knoxville's laughing at it because they couldn't get one. They couldn't get one where he wouldn't laugh when the kid said that.
Dude, that was the greatest line in the whole movie. That is like, should I tell my shirt like this or possibly tucked in? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's
I love
ridiculous.
No, man. Transitioning back to barbecue because we go on a whole.
Is this how you see this interview going?
No, 100%.
You know, I'm
interview go. I
absolutely
mean, I know
loving
you
it.
watch all our episodes every week, Kristen. You're a big fan, so I appreciate that. But yeah, man, that's how they all goes every week. No,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not far off the pace.
I know. I gotta ring in sometimes. Like, all right, back to barbecue. Let's go. But speaking of back to barbecue, you yourself have a couple of rubs out there, man. You want to tell us a little about how that came about and describe them to us?
Yeah. So we, my partner Chad and I, we started a food truck in 2018, and for like maybe the first month, we were buying rub, like commercial rubs that we liked, and I was like, dude, this is gonna eat us alive, paying this price for rubs, So we just sat down and we kind of mimicked what we were using. We were mixing stuff together and tried to come up with something that we thought would just work for the food truck. That was it. And we finally got to where we thought it was good, and we were using it a lot. And I sent it to a co-packer to get it made in bulk. And I'll never forget the first sample they sent of white label back. I try it like this, and I'm like, Chad, try this. And he tries it, and I was like, is this way better than our rub? And he's like, yes. And I was like, I don't know how they took our recipe and made something better than our recipe, but it was incredible. Like literally the first sample of white label, we were like, this is it. It took a few with black label, but the first sample of white label was great. So we were using it in bulk, and it wasn't a bottle. And then I started practicing with it for comps. And that winter when I was practicing like crazy, I was using white label and black label, right? So the first competition that I ever used white label and black label in was the KCBS Invitational that we won. And on the way home, I called Chad. I'm like, we got to put this shit in a bottle. I was like, we can put world champion on the bottle. It obviously hits, and we gotta get it out there. And so within, I think it's like 6 months, the KCBS Invitational we had in a bottle.
Dude, it's phenomenal. I especially love the white label.
I was about to say the white label's the gospel.
We definitely use that
Fantastic.
in our program for both chicken and ribs. How does that go? Like, when they ship it, do they ship it in bottles, or does it ship in like big 5-pound bags, or how does that do that?
It depends how you want it. So like at the restaurant, we buy it 1,000 pounds at a time, and it just comes in like 50-pound boxes, and then I'll get, for the bottles, I get them a pallet at a time, and they ship them straight to my distributor, and then they go from there, but they'll do it however you want. If you just wanted to make a rub and have them send you 20 pounds of it to use at home or on a food truck or whatever, you could do that.
I got you. So like with the whole recipe thing, like I know you said you picked your favorite commercial rubs or your favorite rubs that you used, I'm sure doing competition or whatever that you liked, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna try to get as close to this because I love this. I'm gonna tweak this a little bit.
Yep.
Like, did you like send it to the what your little tweak is and send it to the co-packer and they reverse engineered it, or did you like mad scientists at home, like, all right, a little cup of this, a little cup of that?
Yeah, so we mad scientists, you're able to, taste the rub that we were making. We were taking commercial rubs and mixing them together to get the flavor that we wanted. And we were able to taste that and see kind of what we needed. And then you could, from home, you could mix and match. And honestly, you could look at the labels of the stuff you're buying and be like, oh, I'm surprised that's in there. And you could buy that and put a little in there. And we kind of reverse engineered it ourselves and then made the tweaks we wanted. Like the rub that we were mixing together wasn't very spicy. And so we want a little bit of heat in the white label. And so people always laugh that, we took second in the Royal for the spicy category with white label. People are like, that's not a spicy rub. I'm like, try it by itself. Like, try, it's got a little kick to it, but like we added that, and we were able to tweak it the way we wanted. Once we had that recipe together, we just sent it to the co-packer. They gave a sample. Like I said, the first sample of white label, I was like, this is better than the rub we sent them.
Yes, 100%. I want
that. Yeah. And they have fresh ingredients that they buy stuff in bulk. We're going to the store and buying paprika.
Sure.
They've got the freshest stuff. But the first sample they sent, I was like, get out of here.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when we go on so I was a big bourbon guy before I got into barbecue, and like you go on these barrel picks at these distilleries.
Oh yeah.
And like they're literally like thieving, bourbon out of the barrel, like non-filtered, nothing like that, and it is a million times better than what you try, when it gets to the store after it gets watered down and stuff. Yeah. I'm like, why don't you just barrel this, like this right here? Because like, I mean, even like the most generic of all whiskeys, like you get straight from the barrel, it's just so much better because I don't know, it's just hadn't been messed with, but it's kind of like that, with the spice companies, they have the better quality spices and stuff like that. Because when I've talked to a lot of the guests on here that have rubs and stuff, they all say, that was the thing when they sent it back to me, like, oh, that's way too much of this or that, just because it's so much more potent and so much fresher because they're buying stuff, Yeah,
and we dealt with that with Black Label. Like we had to switch type of pepper we were using and things like that for the Black Label. And I'm working on sauces now. I'm working to get our sauces bottled forever, and I just can't get anybody to get them right. And I'm not going to put it out if it's not right.
Well,
I was just about to ask you that. AJ in the comments brought this up. You guys have anything coming up as an addition to your line?
I don't. I was working on a finish rub. I was working on a finish rub for a long time. That's
a good idea.
It's honestly lights out, but from talking to some of the guys that got finish rubs, there's just not really a market for it. Like most of you guys are going to take my white label and mix something with it and buzz it up and be done. Right. So, there wasn't a great market for finish rub really. And then I had a white label, like a hot version of white label that I was going to call red label, that I just decided not to go with just because it's one of those things that, you add some smoking guns to my white label and you're done. You know what I mean? It's like it's too easy to layer rubs at this point.
Oh man, well, that's something that's down the line for. That's something I want personal. To start winning some competitions and then have my own rub at some point. That's something down the line that I would like to at least have. I mean, not to the level that you're at, because I mean, obviously, heavy smoke, white and black is a big part of a lot of fantastic rubs, but it's in a lot of people's recipes that I know of personally. So I mean, congratulations.
I know so many people that run it in their program.
Oh, absolutely, and congratulations on that, man. But
thanks,
I would just love to have something myself. I don't know, but I'll
tell you this much though. There's not a lot of money in it. Like,
no, I'm not trying to get rich. I just want to have something. It's one of those things,
Yeah, when somebody comes to me and they're like, "Man, I'm gonna come out with a rub and I'm gonna do this and that," I'm like, dude, like unless you're like married to it and you just want to have a rub, there's no reason to do it. Like it'll make a little money, but like you're not quitting your day job over rub.
No.
Sure, unless you have 42,000 rubs like Heath Rouse.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is like Heath and Malcolm and like those guys, man, they did it right. They cornered the backyard market, and I sell.
That's where the money's at, right there.
I sell to preliminary competition guys, and you guys know as much as anybody. Like the competition guys are fickle, right? Like if you use white label for 10 straight comps and it stops getting calls, and you hear one guy say, "Hey, I'm using X," boom, white label's out of your recipe. You know what I'm saying? Like. And so it's harder to sell. You get the backyard guy fall in love with it, like he's probably going to use it for the rest of his life.
Right. Absolutely. I transitioning once again, but I wanted to ask you something myself because, like I said, you've heard, me and Houston are struggling on the rubies. Like when you're,
Tough.
it's the tenderness, man. I can't figure out the
Damn
tenderness, but
tenderness.
whenever you're working your way through the slumps, because I'm sure you're a super heavyweight, but I'm sure everybody goes through slumps throughout the year. And when you're working your way through the slumps, like what's like something you could tell to, because I'm sure a lot of the people listening go through it as well. What's something you could tell our listeners that could help them work their way through it, or give them little tips to work their way through?
Well, I think the thing to keep in mind is you're closer than you think you are. You go 4 or 5 comps without a call, you feel like the sky is falling. You know what I mean? You feel like you're completely off, and you want to rewrite the whole book, and like that's just really not the case most of the time. And I think super small changes and track how they do, and then go from there. I'll never forget a conversation I had with Joe Pierce the week of the Jack, because like I said, it's no secret, man. I got that trailer. I didn't win a comp. I got it beginning of July. I didn't win a comp until the Jack. Like, if you watch the videos of me winning the Jack, no less than 15 times that somebody goes, slump buster, baby. Like the Jack was my slump buster. It was a hell of a slump buster. But like the week of the Jack, I talked to Joe, and Joe was like, man, he's like, you just got to get yourself figured out. He's like, obviously you know how to cook. Like, your flavors work because they've always worked. He's like, just make some changes. He's like, if your chicken is soft, tighten it up a tiny bit. If it's tight, soften it up a tiny bit. Like, if you think your ribs are on the edge of over, pull back a little bit. If you think they're on the edge of tight, you just go a little further, and just make a small change. And that resonated so much with me to be like, all right, I just got to make a couple small tweaks, and then it kind of caught fire after that.
Right. No, I mean, would you think, like, I've heard people talking, I listen to podcasts and stuff, like, flavor profiles, especially judging, like what's hitting now probably is not going to hit later on in the year, stuff like that. Because I feel like flavor profiles go through waves in the season. Yep. You see some people get really hot now, and then later on they can't catch a break. So like you were describing, and you're always constantly chasing flavor profiles. Like, do you stay pretty regimented as far as like what like rubs you're using or your recipes and stuff like that, or do you make pretty tweaks throughout the year, or tweaks year to year as well? Or are you running your same recipes?
I make very small tweaks. Like, if you've seen the brisket video that I shot for the Barbecue League in 2020, I'm still doing 95% of that recipe and getting calls, right? So, and the small tweaks I've made are very small tweaks, right? So, I mean, I think it is cyclical, and I think there are times that things will score more than others, and there's areas that'll score more than others. But I think good food's good food, man. I think if you just serve like above average barbecue and you hit your tenderness, then it's easy. Like I say in my classes and shit, man, if 4 judges think it's the best thing they've ever had and 2 hate it, you're dead. But if I could just make 6 judges go, that's pretty good, I'm gonna win a lot of comps.
Right. No, man. Houston,
so have you ever like completely torn a program down after a slump, or is it just a constant incremental thing?
I would say it's been incremental until it didn't figure it out,
Yeah.
But honestly, man, like, lean on your friends too. I've got to a point where I've had to call a buddy and be like, dude, I'm so lost on ribs, and they're like, oh, well, I'm so lost on pork, and we've traded recipes. You know what I mean? So there's times that's had to happen for sure.
I got you, man. I got you. Hey, let me ask you a question. Something I like asking all of our guests. If you could change one thing about competition barbecue, like what would it be?
I think if you could somehow get to be a better spectator sport, it's like it's the only way it'll ever actually grow. In the years of Pitmasters, where like Joe Blow was watching the show and getting interested, like that's how we all got interested for the most part. It's so closed off to the public, and like I say this, but like I don't like doing people's choice either. So like I don't know how you do it, but it's just so closed off, man. People come to competition, they walk around and they're like lost, and everyone's in their trailer. They do find somebody to talk to, and they're like, how do I try your barbecue? And you're like, you can't, man. There's a food truck up there, and his stuff's terrible. Like And so, I mean, if there's a way to, I feel like that's the only way you're ever going to grow what we do is to get those people involved. I also don't know how you do it.
Also, don't talk to me until the last box is on the table.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's like, from what, like 10:30 to 1, I'm dead.
Right.
You're dead to me.
Right.
But,
Don't talk to me until the last box hits the table.
Exactly. But
I had a buddy of mine, Aaron Schafer. He said something he thinks would work, and I do think it would work. Like, most of us don't care about our leftovers, if they could, like, if we could donate our leftovers after the turn in, so it doesn't, they come around and get it, and then maybe they go sell it up front and even list whose it is. Like, hey, I've got 9 bones from first place ribs and they're $5 a bone. And I've got 10 bones from fifth place ribs and they're $3 a bone or whatever. Like, if you could take everybody's leftovers and be like, hey, this is small batches ribs, it's free. Like, I think it might get people involved.
They'd still be there today. Free.
I said free. We will pay you. We will pay you to take these.
I'll pay you. Here, I'll tell my son, hey, go get this guy $5. Say you want a bone. No,
but I think that's a cool idea though. If the public could actually walk up and be like, oh shit, that guy got first in brisket. Yeah, give me a piece of that.
Well, dude, I mean, hell, a lot of people. It'd be a lot of the. See, here's the thing, though. It'd be a lot of the competitors that would be like, really, and Chris won with that rib. Yeah, here's $5. Let me try that rib.
It's all the competitors.
I'm not.
If you guys ever want to try my leftover ribs, just come to the trailer and get them out of the trash can. They're in there.
Dude, Houston, I forgot. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. I was talking to Chris. I was like, Chris, man, try my rib. And you just seen it's like every barbecue guy, the face of disgust, like, God, I want to try a freaking rib. But no, Chris is a great guy, and he tried it. He gave me some advice.
The problem that you have, and like, this is an amazing thing, so I don't want to make it sound bad, but like, once you've had some success in barbecue, everyone knows you, right? And that's cool, and that's great. I love going to new places and people like knowing who you are. Like, that's awesome. But also, all of them people want you to try their food and give you feedback, right?
I feel bad. I quit doing that.
So like, a lot of the times you might be the 8th rib that came over, and I'm like, I didn't even eat my ribs,
No, that's I know. I honestly, now that I know more, I quit doing that. I hit my friends up who I don't care if they have 8 ribs, they're eating mine too. Because I'm eating their food too.
It's one of those things, man. Like, I invite it, man. Like, come over, I'll give you feedback. Like, I truly don't mind doing it, but there are times that you're like, God, like, I am full,
I understand, man. I understand. No,
it's the trouble with having a big name, bro.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing. Like, it truly is amazing, and I love it. Like, I'll never forget, man. I was down in Florida this like 2 years ago, and this kid was like, he was like fangirling out bad. He was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're here!" And I was like, "Dude, we're just idiots that like burn meat in parking lots for fun." I mean, like
we're professional tailgaters. That's what I say.
We're all tailgaters. We're all the same guys. Like, most of us, if we met in a bar, we'd immediately get along great and want to play pool. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the same types of dudes. It's just one of us has been doing it longer and got a couple more calls. Like, it's I don't know, it's cool. It is cool.
Hey man, speaking of getting calls, I'm always curious about this. Who's on your meat Rushmore?
Oh, this is easy, man. This is super easy. Tuffy, for sure.
Yeah.
Darren, and then Brad and Tim.
Well, there you go, man. There you go.
Easy peasy. Oh, you even got 4 of them.
Pretty solid group there.
Start doing the statues.
The thing is, though, I mean, when I got started, it was Tuffy, right? You watch Pitmasters and like,
sure,
the science behind it, the thought that he went into it. He was maniacal about his shit, man, and like that was awesome. And then getting to meet Tuffy and becoming friends with Tuffy, it was just that much better, Darren, dude, the guy's won everything, and he's the GOAT, right? He's won every major you could think of, and a lot of them multiple times. And then I owe all of my success to Brad and Tim. I in 2015, I went and took their class. I was cooking on drums, but I was still cooking slow, putting brisket on at midnight, running it like 225, 250 with a heat deflector.
Does the drum go up slow?
Man, it's tough. It's not. It's not meant to do it. I started cooking on drums because I was poor, right? I mean, like, it was. I could build a drum for $100. I mean, that's why I was doing it. And then in 2015, I went and took their class to figure out how to cook hot and fast. And immediately I came away like with hope. Oh, okay, I get this. I understand this now. And then, the next year I won my first comps. And I went back in 2018 and took their class again. And I was so much better of a cook that it was a different class for me. I learned how to finish. I learned, I just learned so much more because I was a better cook, right? But Brad's become, one of my great friends, and I'm able to bounce things off of him all the time. And I mean, Tim's the best finisher in the game by a mile, and I owe all my success to those two guys.
What was it? Was it on the barbecue league? Someone said, he said, you win or lose the contest in the last 5 minutes of finishing.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
said, like, bring me, I forgot who it was. It was like someone told me, or I heard a story, maybe it was one of the comments. He's like, you bring me your meat and I'll give you my meat at the end and we'll finish each other's and we'll see, how we do. And the dude, that got this guy's, because this guy was complaining he couldn't cook well or whatever, and he took his meat and he finished it like he should have, and he got GC. And the guy said, "How in the hell did you do that?" I'm like, it's just,
dude. Tim has the best palate on earth, right? And he can try it, and he can know how to turn a 170 into a 178, and he can turn a 175 into a 180, and he's incredible. That's why, and like the first 95% of the cook, I think nobody's better than Brad, and the last 5% of the cook, nobody's better than Tim. And I think that's why if they committed to Memphis in May every year, I don't know how they couldn't win like 8 of the next 10 Memphis in Mays. I mean, those two together are freaking unstoppable.
Well, that and they're cooking whole hog, and literally Tim raises damn hogs, so he's out there like hand picking, like that's Wilbur. No, give him the good stuff. No, he gets the good grain. No, that's not the poor stuff. No, get the good stuff. Get him that. He wants a beer too. Give him beer.
It was cool to watch those guys go in there on a drum though and break the mold and win Memphis in May though. That was pretty cool.
I remember I was with you down in Tennessee. We were watching it on the phones when they won that. I'm like, some bitch, these guys just went down there and won it.
Yep.
Awesome. No. Did they win? Was that the one?
No, that was the year. That was the year they won shoulder.
That's right. They won shoulder. Yeah. But no, they're good. Like both of them are on my meat Rushmore as well. But for Tim, for maybe a different reason, like for him, just business wise, like that dude literally has a monopoly on everything there is to barbecue. I said it's a joke. I say, I'm just waiting for the Blues Hog Trophy Company to come out because that's about the only thing in barbecue he doesn't do.
Yeah, hell of a business, man.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to him one day. No, man, but what are your goals for this year?
It's been a moving target for me. I was going to chase hard, man. I was dead set on.
You're up there right now.
I was dead set, man. That's why I cooked all winter. I was dead set on team of the year. This was going to be my year. I took last year easy, and I was going to run real hard, but I've just had so many problems at the restaurant over the last 2 months that's kept me from cooking as much as I want to, and I think it's going to hurt me even more over the next couple months. So as far as goals, man, it's like it changed a lot over the last 2 months. I'd love to win team of the year, but I'd have to get on some kind of heater like has never happened because I can't cook enough to actually pull it off, But like the Royal and team of the year is kind of like the last two things that I'm really chasing,
I got you. Well, good deal, man. Well, it's that time, Hugh. It's that time.
Some warning would have been nice, but
what'd you say?
Before I got the DJ Khaled air horn.
No, man, that sound lets us know it's time for the Brothers Q Barbecue Supply lightning round. Brought this by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue needs. Also, the Good Charcoal Company. Check out the Good Charcoal Company for all your charcoal needs, and Spring Mountain Farms. Yeah, I'm getting used to the sponsor stuff. I'm not used to it.
Hey, where you get that charcoal from?
Yeah, that'd be a Lowe's at the Good Charcoal Company. Now,
Good Charcoal Company.
Anywho,
you were way more sober than the last time I did this with you.
It's very what's a cough syrup and booze. That's the only way I could talk, man. It's strep throat.
Well,
that's a commitment I have for our fans and our viewers. I had strep throat and I couldn't talk, and the only way I could get through it was NyQuil and bourbon. And you should go back and watch the Sunny Moody video because it started off here, and then you could see when the NyQuil stuff started kicking in.
Have you guys checked out the Chicken Fried podcast that Bill Purvis is doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see the 4th episode where Phil was so drunk he couldn't talk?
It's,
No,
it's a
I
classic.
haven't yet.
That's what gets the viewer.
Go watch the one with Brad, the chicken fried episode with Brad. Phil is beside himself. It is awesome.
Oh,
Well, you were
awful.
zooted on cough medicine, and then like 5 minutes before the show, we're like, I'm going to announce we're doing like a bourbon pull for every new subscriber. That's like,
Hey,
I got to work tomorrow, dude.
you got to do what you got to do, man. You got to do what you got to do. But no,
I
man.
got
Back to
a
the questions,
7-year-old that's going to be up at like 5 a.m.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Back to the questions. We got
Back
just
to the
a few-
questions.
Yeah, gosh, man, you keep me on track, Houston. Come on.
Hey,
Like I said, we got a list of questions. No, just some one hitters. Don't think about them too hard. Nothing too crazy. All right, you ready?
No, nothing wild. Yeah, Chris. Hey, what's your favorite thing to cook at home?
Pasta.
I love it.
I think your Patrick said that too.
Yeah. What's your favorite category to comp?
The brisket.
Brisket. Nice. One thing you always have in the trailer, and it can't be Thermopen.
Jerky.
Jerky. Hell yeah.
What kind of jerky?
I like those, like the teriyaki, like those Jack's Links, like tender bites or whatever.
Yeah, the little like beef bites,
some
the
weird
steak bites.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, my kid just mows them down.
I almost said my dad, but he's not always there, so it's hard to answer.
All right, one thing that you know now that you wish you had at the start.
Wish I had at the start. I would just say, like, don't swing for the fences, right? Like, yeah, middle of the road wins. 175, you're gonna win a lot of comps.
That's fair. Yeah, that's solid advice. All right, walk up song.
Oh, it's easy, man. It's Destiny's Child. Say my name.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've heard it enough times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking Smoke on the Shore. I always hear that. You weren't even there this year. You bounced. You didn't even get to hear your own song.
Nobody did because they put them on
Nobody
Monday.
did. They didn't do this shit till like a week later.
Yeah, well, that is true. Just true.
You asked for goals for this year. It's going to be to skip awards at 100% of the contest. That's what I'm going for.
Dude, that's I got a GC last year doing that. I need to start doing that. I mean,
the first time I did it, I was like, oh, they're gonna change my scores, and then I got a GC after I left, and I've got a handful of them since, and I'm like, I guess it's still all right.
It is such a baller move. Like, I remember seeing your trailer pull out of Smoke on the Shore like 15 minutes after Brisket turned it. I was like, oh, shit.
I got asked on another podcast. The guy actually was trying to like bust my balls. You could tell. And he was like, I cooked a St. Louis Barbecue Society comp and I left for awards and he's an SLBS guy. And he's like, I got to ask, man. He's like, I don't really understand. He's like, everyone's like, are you too good for the awards or whatever? And the answer I gave, and it's the true answer, is like, I do this a lot, man. And every minute earlier I get home is a minute I get to spend with my kid. And if I can leave at 2 p.m. and be home by 8 to put my kid to bed, I'm going to freaking do it. And that's just the reality of it.
I get that.
That's
Nothing
a
but
good
respect
answer,
for it.
All right, last
absolutely.
two, man. Oh, of your rubs that you got, which one's the best?
Ooh, that's a hard one to answer. My favorite's black. I like the black for like if I'm punching anything up at home. I mean, whether I'm putting on potatoes or eggs or anything like that, I like the black because it's saltier, right? But I think white label is like the perfect pork rub, so I'm going to say it's like the better one. If that makes sense.
All right, last question, man. Last question. Here's a good one. Think hard. In the St. Louis area, outside of Heavy Smoke, what is the best barbecue restaurant?
Let me think here. There's quite a few, dude. St. Louis is huge,
Yeah.
I like the East St. Louis, man. They got some solid ones.
Like PTs. Honestly, though, I never eat barbecue, so like it's kind of hard to say. Like Daly's Smokehouse has like the best Reuben I've ever had in my life. So I'm gonna say Daly's, but I know Beastcraft is really good. Man, there's a lot of good places out here.
I know. It's like I gotta put them on the spot though.
No,
I'm just gonna say not Pappy's because they're 1.8 miles from me.
check out Heavy Smoke, man. I stopped at your place on the way back from Joe's class one time, and it was really good, man. That was it a raspberry sauce? I think you had. It was
I got a spicy pineapple and a spicy blueberry.
That's what it was. Yeah, the blueberry one. Blueberry, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was nice.
Well, people hear blueberry and they're like, I don't like blueberries. I'm like, it doesn't taste like blueberry. It just adds a different level of sweetness and acidity to the sauce, you know?
Yeah, but I'm saying before raspberry jelly came out Blues Hall, you just said that'd be like, really?
Yeah.
On barbecue?
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
So, well, no, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, Chris. I mean, this is the time of the show where you got any plugs you want to give and where people can find you and sponsors.
Sponsor shout out, social media handles.
I don't have a lot of sponsors, man. People don't want to give me money. So no, Big Papa Smokers, Snake River Farms, Cordy Meat Processing. It's really about it, man.
And where can people find you in your restaurant?
HeavySmokeBarbecue.com, HeavySmokeBBQ.com, Facebook Heavy Smoke Barbecue. That's really about it.
If you're in the St. Louis area, man, swing by. It's worth the drive, man. Worth the drive for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy. Always good talking to you. And
yeah,
I'm gonna work hard on my hat to get it that cool.
Dude.
That is like McDonald's arches, like high. That is impressive.
This is one of them that has more of a bigger bend to it, but I wore it for you, buddy.
That's nice, man. I like it.
You got to work hard on making your hat not look like a butt sweat collector.
You know what? I can only afford one hat and one hat only, so I wear it everywhere.
I'm a hat freak, man. I collect hats like crazy, and I got like command hooks in the laundry room, and I've got them hanging up. And I don't know if you guys know this, my house burnt down in 2020, and I lost like 70 hats, and I had to start the collection over. So I've only got like 10 right now.
I want to see that insurance claim. Yeah, I have this hat and this hat.
What's hilarious? This is hilarious. I get the thing back, and it says like 75 Gildan shirts, and they gave me like $1 a piece for them. And I called them up. I was like, these are like my heavy smoke competition shirts. These cost like $20 a piece, and they changed the value. They just seen Gildan, and they're like $1. Also, the adjuster called me. I had a barbecue closet. Everything I had was in this one closet. The adjuster called me, and he goes, I don't know how to assess a value on everything in this closet. I'm like, dude, I have years worth of barbecue stuff in there. And he's like, what do you think it's worth? I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you. And he's like, $2,000? I said, that's probably light. He's like, $3,000? I was like, I'll take $3,000. And so he gave me $3,000 for the barbecue closet. And I was like, I'll take it.
$20,000.
Yeah. The best thing is that back then I was sponsored and connected with the Barbecue Superstore guys. And so after the fire, Mark texted me and he goes, what'd you lose? And I sent him everything in that closet, and the dude sent it to me. So they gave me money, and then Mark sent it to me too. So if you guys check out barbecuesuperstore.com, they're good dudes too.
Damn.
Well, good deal, man. Chris, thank you for coming on, man. I will see you here in a couple weeks here in Lebanon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Lebanon.
See
hey, thanks for being on.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Man. That was fun. Good times. Always good talking to you, Chris.
Absolutely.
But no, man. So another good solid week. We got one more in the month, right? Just one more in this month.
What day is it? Yeah, we got another day left, or another week left.
One more. So next week. Now I got it right. I said it wrong last time, but coming up is Brad Leininger of Getting Basted. Gonna be good times. Good. I'm excited to talk to him to round it out, and then who knows? We may get something away. And I think we got an announcement coming up next week, so stay tuned and check us out, man. That's right, buddy. All right, man. Well, that's our show for tonight. And until next time, make sure you're always right on cue. See you guys.